The crash that changed everything. The sky was burning red. Smoke filled the air. The escape pod hit the ground hard and slid across the rocky surface, leaving a trail behind it. Inside, a woman named Ava was unconscious. Her forehead was bleeding, and her lips were dry. The crash had thrown her against the wall. When Ava opened her eyes, she couldn't breathe properly. She gasped for air and slowly sat up. The lights inside the pod were blinking. Sparks flew from broken wires. Her hands were shaking. She looked around but saw no one else. Just empty seats. "Hello?" she called out. No answer. She unbuckled herself and opened the hatch. A blast of hot air hit her face. Outside, the sky was strange. 2 suns shone above, and the ground looked dry and cracked. Strange purple plants grew in small patches. Ava stepped out. Her boots crunched against the dust. The planet felt dead, silent, alone. Her ship had been attacked by pirates. She remembered alarms, screaming explosions, and then darkness. Now she was here. On some unknown planet with no help. She checked her wristcom. No signal. No map. Only a red alert flashing. Critical damage. Unknown location. Eva walked slowly, searching for any other survivors. Pieces of wreckage were spread over the land. Sharp metal, torn wires. One pod had exploded. She turned her head quickly when she heard something. A groan. Not far away. She ran. Behind a broken engine part, something moved. It wasn't human, it was tall, nearly 7 feet. Skin dark gray with a strange glowing pattern on the chest and arms. Its eyes were shut, and its chest was rising slowly. It had 4 fingers on each hand and wore something like a torn uniform. Its breathing was heavy and rough. Eva's heart raced. She didn't know if it was dangerous, but she couldn't leave it there. The alien was injured. A long cut across its ribs was bleeding purple-blue fluid. She bent down carefully. "Can you hear me?" she asked. The alien opened one eye, a pale blue light inside. It looked at her, groaned. "I won't hurt you," she said, though she wasn't sure if it understood her. Eva gently took out a small med kit from her belt and sprayed a healing foam on the wound. The alien flinched, then relaxed. Its breathing slowed. Its hand gripped her, arm not tight, just holding. Its voice was deep and strange. "Kale," it said. "Kale," she repeated. "Is that your name?" It nodded once before passing out. Eva dragged Kale back to the broken pod. It was hard, he was heavy, her muscles burned, and her legs shook. But somehow she made it. Inside the pod, she cleaned the wound again and gave Kale water. He didn't wake up, but he seemed stable now. The sun started to set, but the heat stayed. The red light turned orange. The planet looked even more dangerous in the dark. That night, Ava sat near the pod, holding a flare gun in one hand and a sharp metal rod in the other. She didn't sleep. Every sound made her look around. A hiss, a crack, something big moving, in the dark. Then she heard it, a scream, not a human scream. Something wild, like a predator. Eva stood up quickly. In the distance, glowing red eyes appeared, low to the ground, watching. She pointed the flare gun and fired. Light shot up into the air and lit up the area. That's when she saw it, a creature, huge, 4 legs with spikes on its back and 2 long jaws. It roared and ran into the shadows. Eva stood still, breathing fast. Behind her, a voice spoke. "They've smelled your blood." She turned fast. Kyle was awake, sitting up, his face serious. "What?" Eva asked, scared. Kale looked into the dark jungle and spoke slowly. His voice was rough but clear. "You bleed." "They come." Eva looked down. Her arm had a small cut from earlier. She didn't think it was serious. Kyle stood, weak but ready. "They hunt. Nighttime is theirs." Eva held the flare gun tightly. Her hands were sweating. Kyle looked at her and said one word, "Run," and together, they disappeared into the jungle. Enemies in the dark branches scratched Eva's arms as she ran through the alien jungle. The trees were tall and twisted, glowing faintly in the darkness. Strange blue mist floated around them. Behind her, Kyle moved silently, his long legs helping him glide across the ground. But Eva was tired. Her lungs burned. Her legs shook. Suddenly, Kyle stopped and grabbed her arm. "Quiet," he whispered. Eva froze. The jungle had gone silent. No wind, no insects, nothing. Then came the sound, soft, like footsteps on wet leaves, but too many, too fast. Kale pushed her gently behind a thick tree trunk and crouched beside her. In the shadows ahead, 6 glowing, red eyes appeared, moving low, circling them. Eva whispered, "What are they?" Kale didn't look away. "Silencers," she swallowed hard. "What do they want?" Kale replied, "Me, and you now." The creatures came closer. Eva saw them clearly now, beasts with long legs, black skin like wet stone, and jaws that opened sideways. Sharp teeth glistened. Their heads had no ears, just those cold red eyes. Kale pulled a strange weapon from his belt, a curved blade with a soft blue light. Eva only had a metal rod. The creatures hissed, and then they attacked. Kale moved fast, too fast for a wounded alien. His blade slashed through the air. One beast dropped, screeching. Eva swung her rod at another. It hit the creature's leg, but it barely flinched. One lunged at her. She screamed, fell back, but Kale was there. He threw his body in front of her, slicing the creature's throat open. But another bit Kale's shoulder. He roared in pain. Eva stabbed the metal rod into its eye. Purple blood sprayed. It fell. The rest of the creatures backed away into the mist. Watching, waiting. Kale grabbed Eva's hand. "Move, now!" They ran again, deeper into the jungle. After what felt like hours, Kale stopped near a large, hollow tree. Its trunk had a deep opening, big enough to crawl into. "This is safe," he said. Eva crawled inside. The tree walls glowed, softly, giving off heat. Inside, it felt like a hidden cave. Kale sat down and breathed hard. Blood ran down his arm. Eva quickly pulled out her med kit again. "Don't move," she said gently. She cleaned his wounds and wrapped them with what little she had left. Kale winced but stayed silent. "You saved me back there," Eva whispered. Kale looked at her. "You saved me first." They both smiled, just a little. A few moments passed. The silence returned. Eva broke it. "Where are we?" Kale stared at the glowing tree walls. "A forgotten place. My people used it long ago. We called it Kavari, Tree of Hiding." Eva looked around. "This planet, is it your home?" Kyle shook his head slowly. "No, it's a graveyard." Eva frowned. "What do you mean?" Kyle's eyes grew darker. "Long ago, war happened here. My kind fought others, now only monsters remain." He touched his shoulder. "They were made in labs. To hunt. They learned. Then, they escaped." Eva shivered. "How many are there?" "Too many," Kale said. "And they breed." She held her knees close to her chest. "I was never trained for this. I fix satellites. I'm not a soldier." Kale looked at her softly. "But you fight. You survive. That is enough." For a moment, silence filled the tree again. Then Eva asked, "Can we send a signal? From here?" Kyle looked away. "No signal from here, but maybe. A tower remains, far in the mountains." "How far?" "Days, maybe weeks." Eva sighed. "And those things out there? They smell fear, blood. They never stop." She looked down at her scraped arm. The blood had dried, but she felt something strange inside, an unease. Kyle suddenly said, "They marked you." Eva looked up, alarmed. "What?" Kale touched a glowing spot on his own chest. "They don't forget a scent. You're part of the jungle now. Hunted." Eva's breath caught in her throat. Then what do we do? Kale stood slowly. We don't hide. We move. At first light. He sat down beside her. For the first time he looked tired. Vulnerable. Eva noticed his hand, shaking slightly, not from pain, from weakness. She gave him her last water pack. Kale stared at it, then at her. Why? He asked. Eva answered softly. Because we only survive if we help each other. Kale smiled faintly. You are strange. For a human. She smiled back. You're strange too. Then, just before sleep took her, Kale whispered something in his language. It sounded like a prayer. Outside the tree, in the mist, the red eyes returned, watching, waiting. The bonding ritual, the next morning the sky turned silver. The two suns rose slowly over the trees, painting the jungle in a strange glow. Eva opened her eyes inside the hollow tree and found Kale already awake. He stood at the entrance, watching, the jungle like a guard. He hadn't slept. Eva crawled out and stretched. Her body ached, her stomach twisted with hunger. She hadn't eaten anything in 2 days. Kale turned. You're cold. Eva looked down. Her hands were shaking slightly. It's nothing, she said. Just tired. But Kale stepped closer and touched her forehead. His fingers glowed faintly. Your heat is leaving, your cells slowing down. She didn't understand. What does that mean? Kale looked serious. This planet drains life, slowly, from outsiders. Eva blinked. So I'm dying? He nodded. Yes, unless what? She asked quickly. Kale hesitated. There is a way, he said. But you won't like it. They walked deeper into the jungle, following a narrow path between sharp-leafed bushes. Soon they reached a small cave behind a glowing waterfall. Inside, strange stones pulsed with light. The air felt warm and alive. Kale pointed at the center of the cave. A shallow pool shimmered, its water glowing blue. Symbols were carved on the rocks around it, old, alien writing. This place, Kale said, was sacred to my people. Eva stepped closer to the pool. What is it? A place of merging, of survival. We call it Narakai. She frowned. Merging? What do you mean? Kyle walked around the pool slowly. My kind bond with another, to share strength. It was once, done with others long ago, during the wars. He stopped. We survive by creating new energy, a new spark. Together. Ava's eyes widened. You mean reproduce? Kyle looked away. Yes, but not like humans. No pleasure, no pain, just energy transfer. One gives, one carries. She stepped back. You're asking me to... No, Kale said quickly. I offer. You choose. Eva sat on a rock, silent. Her hands trembled more now. Her heartbeat was slower. She could feel her body weakening. But I don't even know you, she whispered. Kale sat across from her. I am Kale, last of the Arvari warriors. I fought in the Glavian War. I carry pain, loss, guilt, but I don't lie. He paused. I would die before hurting you. Eva looked at the water again. What happens if I say no? She asked. Kyle answered simply. You'll grow weaker. I will carry you until I die. Then you will die alone. She swallowed hard. And if I say yes, we become one. Part of me enters you. You live. Stronger. But you carry something else. Eva stood up and walked to the edge of the pool. Her reflection shimmered. She didn't see a soldier. She saw a survivor, a woman who wanted to live. She turned to Kale. I'm scared, she said. Kale nodded. So am I. Then, without another word, she stepped into the water. The water wrapped around her legs like warm silk. Kale joined her. His body glowed brighter, now as if the cave was charging him. He held out his hands. Breathe. Do not speak. Eva placed her hands in his. His energy surged through her fingertips like tiny sparks. Suddenly, her body felt weightless. The glowing stones pulsed faster. Kyle closed his eyes and his chest light grew stronger, sending waves of warmth into the water. Eva gasped as she felt something enter her, not physical, not painful. A warmth in her chest, then her stomach. Her spine tingled. Her heartbeat grew louder, faster. Kyle opened his eyes and said, "It is done." Eva fell into his arms, breathing hard. What did you do?" she asked weakly. Kyle whispered, "I gave you part of my life." She passed out. Hours later, Eva woke on a soft bed of moss inside the cave. Her skin felt warmer, her head clear, her body no longer weak. Kyle sat beside her, his hand on her shoulder. "You're stronger now," he said. Eva looked at him. "Did it work?" He nodded. "Yes, but there is more." Eva touched her stomach. "What more?" Kale looked away. "There is a spark inside you now, not just energy. Life." Her eyes widened. "Are you saying?" Kale nodded slowly. "You carry something new, something never born before." Eva sat in silence. A human and an alien had created something together, something alive. Outside the cave, the silencers sniffed the air, but something had changed. They paused, confused, then ran into the jungle, fleeing. Inside the cave, life had taken root, and nothing on that planet would be the same again. The planet fights back. For the first time in days, Eva slept without fear, but the planet did not. Outside the glowing cave, something had changed. The jungle was alive with whispers. The trees leaned in strange directions. The mist moved like it had a mind of its own. The silencers, those hunting beasts, no longer circled the area. They had fled. Something older had awakened. Eva stirred as a rumble shook the ground beneath her. It was soft at first, like distant thunder. But then it came again, stronger, closer. She opened her eyes. Kyle stood at the cave's entrance, staring at the sky. His face was tense. Eva sat up quickly. "What is it?" Kale didn't turn around. "The planet knows," she blinked. "Knows what?" "That new life has begun." He stepped outside. Eva followed. The twin suns were hidden behind thick black clouds that hadn't been there before. The wind was heavy with dust. A deep humming sound echoed from far away. Eva looked around. "What's happening to this place?" Kyle pointed toward the trees. "You see that?" One of the glowing trees was melting, its light fading, bark cracking, leaking black sap that hissed when it hit the ground. Eva gasped. "This planet was made to kill outsiders," Kyle said. "It was changed by war, poisoned by machines. Life here is not natural anymore, and now..." He looked at her stomach. "It sees your child as a threat." Eva touched her belly. It wasn't large yet, but something inside felt warm, alive. "You mean the planet will attack us?" she asked. Kyle nodded. "It already has." That afternoon, they moved through the jungle, heading toward the ancient signal tower Kale had told her about. It was their only hope of calling for help. The jungle was no longer quiet. It groaned like it was alive. The ground pulsed softly under their feet. The trees creaked and twisted. Sometimes Eva saw faces in the bark, only for a second. "Is this real?" she whispered. Kale answered. "This planet shows fears. It feeds on emotion." Suddenly, a scream echoed nearby. A human voice. Eva froze. That sounded like my brother. She ran, ignoring Kyle's warning. She found a clearing. In the middle, a figure stood. A man. He looked like her brother Nathan. Same face, same eyes. But something was wrong. His skin was too smooth. His mouth didn't move when he spoke. "You left me," it said. Eva's heart sank. "No, you died in a crash. Years ago." The figure stepped forward, eyes glowing black. "You let me burn." Kyle arrived just in time and threw a rock at it. The figure burst like smoke. Eva gasped. "What was that?" Kale looked serious. "It's not your brother. It's the planet, testing you." He helped her up. "Do not trust what you see from here on." As they moved deeper, they found old ruins, metal towers, rusted machines, and strange signs half buried in dirt. Eva recognized the writing. "English," she whispered. "These are human ruins." Kyle frowned. "I thought no humans came here." Eva found a broken helmet with a cracked glass visor. She picked it up. Inside, written in faded marker, "Nathan. Kurt Earth Command." Her hand shook. "My brother was here." Kale studied the helmet. "Then your people knew about this planet, and they left without telling anyone." Eva stared at the jungle. What were they hiding? Night came fast. Too fast. They set up a small camp under a rock shelf. Kyle used an old alien device to scan the air. "Radiation is rising," he said. "And the child inside you. It's growing fast." Eva looked down, frightened. "How fast?" Kyle placed a hand on her stomach. His eyes glowed faintly. "Too fast." She swallowed hard. "Is that normal? For my kind?" "Yes," he said. "But your body is human. It may not survive if we wait too long." Eva sat down, exhausted. "Then we get to that tower. Fast." Kyle looked at the sky. "We must reach it before the next full dark, or the jungle itself will come for you." Just then a loud cracking sound echoed from behind. The ground split open and from it crawled something massive, an ancient machine creature, half metal, half bone. Its eyes glowed red. Its mouth dripped acid. Kyle stood. "Run!" Eva hesitated, but the monster charged. Its massive claw hit the ground where she had stood a second before. She and Kale ran as the machine beast roared and gave chase, crushing trees in its path. They dove into a ravine and rolled down into a cave below. Safe for now. Eva coughed and looked at Kale. "This planet is crazy." Kale smiled faintly. "Welcome to its war." Eva leaned back, holding her stomach. But something was changing. She could feel movement inside. Not normal kicks, but pulses of heat. Like her baby wasn't just alive, it was awake. Secrets buried deep. The cave was cold and wet. Eva sat near the wall, shaking. Her skin was pale and sweat covered her face. Kyle placed a cloth on her forehead, dipped in glowing water from a nearby spring. She looked weak, but her eyes were wide open, staring at the ceiling. "I felt it," she whispered. Kale leaned closer. "Felt what?" "The baby," she said slowly. "It's thinking. I don't know how, but it's awake. And it's afraid." Kale's eyes darkened. He didn't speak. The jungle above them rumbled again, but this time it wasn't from beasts. It felt older, deeper, like something was turning in the planet's core. Eva sat up. "We need to keep moving. That signal tower, it's our only chance." Kale nodded. "It's close, just past the Canyon of Bones." Eva frowned. "Bones?" He didn't answer. They left the cave at dawn. The air had changed. It smelled like burnt metal and something worse. Something rotten. The path ahead led them through a deep canyon carved by time and war. Skulls, ribs, and massive alien bones lined the walls. Some were old, fossilized into the stone. Others looked fresh, with scraps of alien armor and weapons rusting nearby. "What happened here?" Eva asked, stepping over a cracked helmet. Kyle touched the wall. "This was the last stand of many. When the wars ended, the dead were left behind. No one buried them. Eva noticed something strange. On a large rock, someone had carved a symbol. She moved closer. It was a circle with 2 lines crossed through it, and below it, English letters. Project Eden. Zone 9. Her breath caught. This is human writing. Kyle stepped beside her. You know it? Eva nodded. I think my brother talked about it once, before he vanished. He said Earth Command was hiding something called Project Eden. Something dangerous. She touched the symbol. But why here? They moved deeper, and soon they reached the remains of a bunker, half buried, doors cracked open. Kale paused. There may be danger inside. Eva ignored him and stepped through the door. Inside the bunker, lights flickered weakly. Old human tech buzzed and sparked. Screens glowed, still working after all this time. There were chairs, desks, and skeletons, humans, who never escaped. Eva picked up a journal, dusty and torn. She opened it. The first page said, Dr. Nathan E., Project Log. Her hands shook. My brother, she read aloud. Day 12. The alien DNA we recovered reacts strongly with human cells. Our tests show rapid bonding, even faster than expected. Day 21. We tried to grow a hybrid. It didn't survive. Day 30. We need a real host, a living one. But no one is willing. Eva stopped reading. Her voice cracked. He was part of this. They were trying to make hybrids. Kyle looked at her gently. They wanted power, mixing our kind with yours. She turned to him. But why? Kale stared at the walls. Because Deathworlders like you are strong, and my kind are dying. Eva sat on the floor. Her whole body felt heavy. My brother didn't die in a crash, she whispered. He came here and never left. Kyle handed her something from a shelf, a data chip. This may tell the rest. She held it tightly. Then the lights flickered and died. A deep groan came from the ground. Kyle stood quickly. The jungle knows we are here. The walls cracked. The ground split. Eva and Kale ran out as the bunker collapsed behind them. Dust filled the air. Hours later, they reached the edge of the canyon. And there, above a hill of broken stones, stood the ancient tower. It stretched high into the clouds, built of black alien metal. Its top was broken, but its core still glowed. Kale pointed. That tower was once a galactic beacon. It can send a signal far if it still works. Eva looked up at it. Then let's climb. But Kale stopped her. There is a price. What kind of price? She asked. Kale looked away. The tower runs on life energy. My kind built it. If we use it, someone must give. She stared at him. You mean someone has to die? He nodded. Yes, one life, for the signal. Eva's hands tightened into fists. No, there has to be another way. Kale looked into her eyes. I'm already dying. I was wounded. Before you found me, this was always my end. No, she shouted. You saved me. You saved our child. Kale placed a hand on her stomach, his voice soft. Then let me save both of you. It's all I can give. Tears filled Eva's eyes. She wanted to speak, to scream, to fight. But instead she nodded. They climbed the tower as the skies above began to scream with thunder. The jungle was no longer hiding. It was rising, and at the top of the tower only one of them would return. The choice at the tower. The wind howled like a wounded beast. Eva climbed the black metal stairs of the ancient tower. Each step was cold, humming under her feet. Kyle followed, behind her slower now, his wounds deeper, his strength fading. The higher they went, the more the planet seemed to scream. Lightning flashed above. Not normal lightning. Green and red bolts that cracked open the sky like glass. The tower shook with every blast, but it stood tall, silent, watching. At the top was a broken platform, half exposed to the storm. A round console waited at its center, covered in dust and old alien markings. Blue light pulsed faintly from its core. Cale collapsed beside it. Eva ran to him. "Cale!" He coughed, dark blood staining his lips. But he smiled. "I made it," he whispered. "The last climb." Eva held him. "Don't do this, we'll find another way." Kyle reached into his belt and pulled out a small glowing shard, part of his life core. He pressed it into the console. The tower lit up instantly. Symbols floated. In the air, the wind paused as if the planet was listening. "It needs one more thing," Kyle said. "My energy. To wake it fully." Eva's voice cracked. "You said this would kill you." Kyle looked at her belly. "If I die, the baby will live. It's a good trade." "No," she shook her head. "That's not your choice alone." He nodded slowly. "Then let me tell you something. Something I never said." Eva sat beside him as Kale looked at the storm. "I came here on purpose. My people sent me. They believed that only humans could carry our future, that your kind Deathworlders could survive what we cannot." He paused. "I thought it was a lie, a desperate hope. But then I met you." His glowing eyes dimmed for a second. "I was supposed to find a host, but I found something else." Eva whispered. "What?" He smiled. "A reason to care." Suddenly the console blared. A voice spoke in Kale's language, but Eva somehow understood. "Energy core ready. Final sacrifice required. Confirmed to. Transmit galactic distress signal." Eva's heart pounded. She looked down at the screen. It was asking for a life. Kale reached forward, his hand glowing, but Eva grabbed his arm. "Wait," she said. "What if it doesn't have to be you?" Kale frowned. "What do you mean?" She reached into her jacket and pulled out the data chip from her brother's journal. "This tower was built with human knowledge, right?" "Yes," Kyle nodded. "Then maybe it can read human DNA." Kale's eyes widened. "Eva, no. Your body is still healing. You're carrying a child. The tower will drain your life." Eva stepped forward. "Then let it take part of me, not all. Enough to send the message." Kyle tried to stand, but his legs failed. "It's too dangerous." She looked at him. "So is dying out here with no help coming." She placed her hand on the console. It scanned her palm, her blood, her pulse. The tower shivered. The console spoke again. "Hybrid energy detected. Mixed signal strength, stable. Signal transmission possible with shared sacrifice." Eva looked at Kale. "It's asking for both of us." Kale smiled. "Together, then." They held hands, and together they touched the final switch. The tower screamed. Light exploded into the sky, a beam of pure white that shot through the clouds, breaking the storm. A pulse rolled across the planet. Trees fell, mountains cracked. The silencers, those nightmare beasts, howled and collapsed, their bodies turning to dust. The jungle stopped breathing. And then, silence. Eva collapsed to the ground, her skin pale, her body weak, but alive. Kyle lay beside her, still, silent, his eyes barely opened. "You did it," Eva whispered, tears falling. He nodded faintly. "Our child will bring peace." His voice was fading. "Don't go," she begged. Kyle smiled, and for the first time he looked happy. "Free. Thank you for giving me more than life." Then his body turned into glowing dust, rising into the sky, carried by the wind. Eva screamed. But the wind carried her scream gently, like a lullaby. Moments later, her stomach pulsed, not painfully, but strong. The baby kicked, and a soft glow filled the air around her. Eva looked at her hands. They were glowing too, not dying, changing. Kale's gift had not taken life. It had transformed it. Far above, in space, a signal flashed across the stars, and someone answered. A new life in a dead world. The wind no longer screamed. The jungle was still. For the first time since the crash, Ava felt silence not as a warning, but as peace. She lay at the top of the tower, her body sore and trembling, her mind half frozen, between exhaustion and wonder. Around her the black metal hummed with a new energy, not hostile, not hungry, but warm. Eva placed a hand on her stomach. The child moved again. It wasn't just kicking anymore. It was pulsing, sending waves of heat and light through her veins. She could feel it bonding with her, not just inside her body, but her mind, as if it was speaking without words, a whisper only she could hear. "You are not alone." She closed her eyes and sobbed softly, not from pain, but from everything she had lost and everything she had found. An hour passed before she stood. Her limbs were weak, but her feet found strength. The storm above had cleared and twin suns broke through the dark clouds. They shone down on the jungle like golden eyes, watching, waiting. Eva looked at the sky. Somewhere beyond it, a signal was traveling, jumping between satellites, echoes, and dead systems. Somewhere, someone would see it. Would they understand it? Would they come? Would they be friend or enemy? She didn't know. But she had hope. Climbing down the tower was harder than going up. The stairs creaked. Her breath was slow. Her heart beat heavy, but it was steady. She moved carefully, pausing often to drink from her ration bottle and talk softly to the child in her womb. Cale was gone, but somehow he wasn't. Every now and then she saw traces of him, his light in the wind, his voice in the rustling leaves. His soul had not vanished. It had fused into something else, her, them. At the base of the tower, the jungle had changed. The trees no longer leaned in hatred. The vines no longer reached to choke. The silencers were gone, turned to dust, or fled into shadows that would never return. But new growth was rising. Blue flowers bloomed from cracks in black soil. Gentle lights blinked between branches. The air smelled fresh, alive, like a dead world had breathed in hope. Eva spent 2 days building a signal marker using Cale's broken blade, glowing crystals, and scraps from her medkit. She painted a message with her own blood on the stone near it. Ava, human, not alone, child of 2 worlds, help needed. Then she waited. On the 3rd day, she heard it. A hum, faint at first, then stronger. The sky shimmered, clouds parted, and through them, a ship descended, not human. It was long and silver, shaped like a spearhead, glowing with violet thrusters. Symbols lined its wings, the same ones Cale had worn on his armor. Her knees gave out. She fell to the ground. They had come. The ship landed on a soft ridge. Its side opened with a hiss. 5 figures stepped out, tall, graceful, with dark gray skin and glowing eyes. Arvari, just like Cale, only older, more powerful. Their leader was a female, dressed in gold armor. Her face was sharp, but kind. She looked at Eva, then at Eva's stomach. Her eyes widened. She knelt. "Bearer," she said in a deep voice. "You carry the hope of our people." Eva blinked. "You understand me?" "We received Cale's memory shard," the female said. "We saw everything." One of the others stepped forward and gently helped Eva stand. "You're safe now," he said. Eva held her stomach protectively. "And the baby?" The leader stepped closer and placed a hand near Eva's belly. Her hand glowed. Then, she smiled. "The child is strong, a perfect fusion. Kyle's soul guides him." Tears filled Eva's eyes. "You knew him?" she whispered. The leader nodded slowly. "He was my brother." Eva gasped. "You came because of him?" "We came because of you," the leader said. "Because he believed in you." He gave us more than a signal. He gave us a reason to begin. Again. They carried Ava aboard the ship. She was placed in a soft chamber surrounded by light. Machines scanned her but gently. Nothing was painful. Inside, her body began to heal faster. The Arvari told her stories of old wars, fallen empires, dying stars. They had once ruled 10 systems, but pride had destroyed them. Kale was the last warrior, until now. Eva was not, just a survivor. She was their bridge to the future. When the baby came, it happened under silver lights. The pain was sharp but short. Then came the cry, loud, powerful, echoing across the ship. A baby boy. His skin was pale with a silver glow, eyes, dark like space but with a faint human warmth. His chest glowed where Kale's energy once lived. They named him Elon, meaning lightborn. He reached for Ava and touched her cheek. In her mind, she heard one word. Mother. The ship returned to Arvari Prime, a distant world of floating. Cities and forests that touched the clouds. Eva was honored there, not as a prisoner, not as an experiment, but as a hero of peace. Many humans had feared aliens. Many aliens had feared humans. But now, through one woman and one warrior, something new had been born. A child of 2 galaxies. A symbol of trust. Years passed. Eva stayed among the Arvari, raising Elon as both human and alien. He walked by age 1, spoke by 2. By 5 he could fly small ships and heal wounded birds. The Arvari called him the heir of harmony. But Eva called him only one thing. Son. She never forgot Kyle. Sometimes when Elon laughed, she heard his voice in the wind. Sometimes, when she looked at the stars, she saw the path Kale had taken, and she smiled. Because even though he was gone, his gift would live forever. In a galaxy once broken by war and fear, one woman and one alien made the impossible happen. Life, love, and a new beginning. In a world that once wanted them dead.